sight anymore.
Nope, no sight. Okay,
Hello.
here we are.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Takes us a little while to get set up. Here we are in southern Utah, but we're not here to talk about southern Utah. We're going to talk about coming into California from Oregon and Nevada.
Yep.
So, first place we stopped coming into California. Wait, was that where they asked us if we had any fruit?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
There's a whole like toll sort of set up. Like you didn't have to pay tolls, but everybody had to stop. And they rolled out your window and they asked you if you had any fruit.
Fruit.
Like I just ate my apple. I don't know. I tried to look it up later. It was certain fruits were okay and certain fruits were not. But here we are. Fruit or no fruit.
Fruit or no fruit.
Then we stayed at our favorite campground we've decided for all of us yet. We calculated by the time we left there, we had been gone for 72 days since we left home, and that was our 19th campground, and that is the top of all of our lists.
Yeah. Hat Creek, KOA, was fantastic. It was in the middle of mountains, so it was kind of in a valley in the middle of the mountains. It had just the right smattering of trees. The site was level.
Everything was paved.
Everything
Not
was
the
paved.
site was paved, but like
Right.
the roads around the campground, and
yep.
it was big enough. And there wasn't very many people there, so I'm sure that contributed to that. But I think even if there would have been more, it still would have been pretty nice.
Yeah, it was quiet. Kind of in the middle of nowhere, as they said.
It really was.
Yeah.
There was nothing. We did everything there was to do in that area. All 2 things.
Well, we didn't go to the observatory.
No.
So there were 3 things, but that's pretty close.
Yeah, the campground had places where the kids could bike, and then also had places where we could walk. And it even had a woods area in the back that we could walk if we wanted to. We did it a couple times. But the 2 things that we did there were the Subway Cave.
Yeah, Subway Cave was a lava tube cave that was formed by a lava flow. Who knows how long ago? Because I don't know which one. 200 years ago? It was that one. Okay. There are two volcanoes that are active in that area. So one of them hadn't. I mean, active like 200 years ago was the last activity, and 400 years ago was the last activity before that. So maybe it should be erupting right about now. I don't know.
So we actually have a whole video, like on just kind of raw footage of walking through the cave that I will put in the link. But the kids really liked it. You really liked it. Owen absolutely loved it. It was huge. I think they call it Subway because probably a real Subway could pretty much fit in there.
It's pretty big.
The bottom was rocky, but not level at all. And then the roof was a big dome, and it was 1/3 mile. And if you didn't have flashlights, you would absolutely be
It'd be lost.
pitch black.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it at all.
We did the classic experiment where you walk in and then you turn your flashlights off, and that's a physics thing. And my students never really liked this concept, some of them, and I don't think our kids really like the concept either, that light is the only thing you actually see, so in the absence of light you see nothing. They didn't like that, but that's really what it was. Physics lesson embedded. Bam.
So that was cool. That became Owen's #1 thing, which is exciting because he doesn't like all the outdoor stuff necessarily, and that's okay. But it was exciting to see him excited. And that was like a few miles one way from the campground.
It was like 5 minutes.
And then the other thing that we went to was a few miles the other way from the campground, and that was
MacArthur Burney Falls State Park.
Burney Falls, waterfalls.
Yeah. And that was really neat. So dogs couldn't be there, so we made the decision that just Ethan, Emmett, and I were going to go and check it out. And
Yeah, Belle had a ton of schoolwork.
Yep, Belle had a lot of schoolwork.
Owen didn't necessarily want to do an outdoor thing, and I opted to stay back.
So we ran up there. It was about 20 to 25 minutes from our campsite, and it was apparent almost immediately that it was very special. You could hear the falls roaring. It was 129-foot tall falls coming through the lava, so there were multiple different falls coming off of the main river area even. And so we hiked it quickly. It was just, I don't know, a mile and a half loop or something like that. And Ethan looked at me and said, "Mom needs to come see this." And so we ran back, and
Scared me to death.
I drove in. I said, "Let's go." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "We gotta go."
Well, yeah. I'm kind of always on edge because we're not at home. We don't ever know where we are. There's forest fires not too far away from us. He pulls up. He doesn't get out of the car. He starts waving. He goes, "We gotta go." Like, what? You gotta go now. He's not saying anything. He totally freaked me out.
It was gonna get dark.
It took
I had
me.
nowhere to
It
go.
took me a good long time to like settle down.
I knew right where we were. Because wherever you are.
Then Ethan
there
finally
you are.
got out of the car and he's like, "You have to go see the waterfalls." Oh, okay.
So we went back and saw the waterfalls again, with the other ones. Then and Ethan and Emmett stayed home with the puppies. We also visited Burney, the city of Burney. Went to Grocery Outlet.
That was the last time.
That is sad.
Where
Grocery Outlet
we
is
are
amazing.
now out of Grocery Outlet range.
Pretty fantastic place.
It is a bargain store, but it's not. I mean, they have a lot of things, but they don't always have the same thing. That's why it's kind of an outlet. But you probably could do all of your grocery shopping there. But what's fun is to find the finds that are super cheap. So that's where all our $2 bacon came from over the past couple months. But not every store has the same thing either. And my oat bran muffins.
Oh yeah, the oat bran muffins.
And then the cheese. I finally found my vegan cheese, which I've been looking at every grocery store we've been in, and I haven't found it. And I found it there for 25 cents, and it had been expired a day or two. So bought several, threw it in the freezer. It says do not freeze, but for 25 cents, I'm going to try it. And then we only stayed at that campground 3 nights, and then nobody wanted to leave.
Yeah, we didn't want to leave. We ultimately did leave because it was getting colder, and our furnace didn't work.
Still hasn't been fixed.
So it has now, but it hadn't at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we tried a couple times with RV techs and finding places.
Yeah, nobody would come out and see us.
It was kind of getting down to the line that it needed to be fixed.
So if you're ever in the Northern California area, we highly, 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 highly recommend it. The Mount Shasta area. Go see it. They're new owners, and they're working it
I
into a
thought you were
KOA.
going to say the IV place, the Fix-It place.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about
I
them.
mean,
But that's
that was
Susan
fine
Bell.
too, but that was a lot of highlies.
But we recommend the KOA there at Hat Creek. It's so new as a KOA.
Yeah, it used to be some other campground.
Yep.
And
My Garmin has KOA search, like it has all the KOAs loaded. Didn't even have this one at all, so I was like freaking out as we're driving through the mountains. Like, where is this thing? Is it really truly here? Like, who knows? But anyway, we would highly recommend it. New owners are doing a great job fixing things up. The bathrooms were super nice, which is always important to me because I like to use high pressure water for my showers, whereas everybody else is mostly content with just showering in the RV. But so anyway,
so we left there.
oh, the other thing that happened there was the front gray tank valve broke. Yep, in the middle of the night. So it was super exciting for me.
Oh, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that.
You're welcome so much. Anyway, we moved on to basically, we didn't know where we were going. We had a general idea where we were going, but we didn't have any reservations because really we couldn't make phone calls. There was no cell service. We did have Starlink, and it worked really well there.
Starlink's our internet that we bring with us.
So we didn't really know where we were going. We just knew we were going to go, and we had talked about it. And we said, well, there is an RV repair place in Susanville, California. And so we decided that would be our destination. With RV places, you just really never know. Like, they could be super busy, or they might have, a way to fit you in, like people in Mandan did for us. They fit us in, take a look at our inverter. But we weren't calling ahead this time. So it was kind of a, who knows. So we're driving through Susanville. We pull up, and I'm looking at this place going, I don't know about this. There's just a lot of stuff all over the place. And we pulled in, and we barely fit in the parking lot because we are a big rig. I actually even asked Amanda, I said, I don't know, what do you think? And she's like, I don't know. So I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. So I walked in, talked to, there's 2 owners, a husband and wife team, and then they have another RV tech. And she said, our one RV tech is on lunch. I'm going to feed my husband, and then I can fit you guys in at about 1:30. So, okay, sounds great. So I got us backed in. We had to actually unload everything from the basement because
One of the under storage compartments we call the basement.
I was talking to him and he goes, "Oh, you don't have external access." I said, "No, I don't." He goes, "All right, I'll have to climb through."
Well, that was the whole thing with this furnace stuff. We couldn't even, I shouldn't say I didn't have anything to do with it. They couldn't even figure out how to get to it. Even little Annabelle was up in there climbing around trying to figure stuff out prior to. But
yeah, it was kind of interesting. So anyway, we dropped it off there and got it backed in to where he wanted to look at it, and we headed out to try to find a park.
Yep.
And we did.
Yep.
Yep. It was a nice park. Ish. It's all right. Soccer fields and baseball. And
okay, so he fixed the RV.
Oh yeah, RV. So he calls me up, says, "Hey, has anybody removed your furnace recently?" And I said, "Not that I'm aware of. We just bought it a couple months ago. We didn't move it." Apparently there was a manual switch way tucked in the back, couldn't get to. He actually ended up having to pull the whole furnace out before he found the switch.
Which had to pull the water?
No, he didn't have to.
Okay.
He didn't have to. He just ended up having to pull the furnace out. But he had to climb up and in and underneath everything, and found out there was a manual switch there, and that was the only thing that was wrong with it. So
we turned it on.
And it works. Which is interesting because we did have it on in Glacier, and it did throw heat in Glacier.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know how that would have worked because.
But that was weird because it worked one day, and then we turned it off, and then it didn't work again. Yeah. So could there have been anything residual?
He said, because Belle asked me that question, like, is it something where, the electricity popped it or anything like that? He said it's not set up that way, so it wouldn't have popped. It should have just been on or off, and it was off. So who knows?
And that time that it worked and didn't work, we didn't transport, we didn't move. So there's really nothing should have bumped it anywhere.
Right. So we're blaming the cockroach that was in there.
Oh, never talked about the cockroach.
Oh, we never talked about the cockroach?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, I don't know if we have time for that. We picked up a cockroach somewhere along the way. The boys saw it at night. There's been two now. The boys saw it one night, and I was like, "Oh, whatever. You guys were just tired, you didn't really." And then they saw it again.
Those Ethan and Owen were the only two that kept repeatedly see it at night, and they would try to get it, but it was so fast, and they would try to describe it to us, and then we realized that's probably what it was. And then we did some research, and it seemed like it was kind of the type of cockroach that there's only one. And we were spraying with peppermint, and we were doing some things, and we set up some traps and tape and such. And then it seemed to disappear. Like, did it die? Did it leave? Did it exit? Didn't see it for a long time. And then we're
setting up.
Saw it again in the kitchen, just on its back dead. So anyways, that one was gone. We thought we were totally done with the problem. And then like a week later, there was another one in the kitchen. So we're still investigating that, still trying to do some things. Hopefully there's no more.
Great.
There's the cockroach story.
There's the cockroach story very quickly. All right, so we left. So that night we had some options. Susanville did have some RV parks, but Susanville was kind of a rough town, kind of. There's a couple prisons there. Mm-hmm. So we decided we maybe didn't want to do that, so we decided to move on the best that we could, and Amanda found a place in Sparks, Nevada, which is just outside of Reno. Tahoe? Reno. For those of you that catch that reference, great. If not,
so we wanted to make it all the way to Lake Tahoe, which actually now that we've been there, I'm glad that we didn't, because I think driving to Lake Tahoe would have been a little treacherous with the rig. We did go there. We ended up staying at Sparks Marina, RV Marina, whatever they called it, and it was considered like won all sorts of awards for being this RV park. Really what it is just a fancy people that like to pick their big Class A's and not leave their Class A's. Pets and kids were welcome, but I won't really say it was pet or kid friendly.
Really. There were 3 dog parks, but they were about this big.
Don't people walk their dogs? So we had to walk across a busy street to walk our dogs
along the lake.
It was, there really wasn't. So we ended up being there for like 5 days, and it was clean and it was quiet and it was nice. So they had so many rules. It just wasn't a very comfortable place because it was too stingy. And
it was completely paved. Like everything was paved. The pads were paved. They had
it was turf.
It was turf instead of grass. And it was right in the heart of everything. Like it wasn't hard to get to anything. I didn't oil change on Maurice. We found a pet store.
We found a Target.
We found a pet store that had the dog's
Costco.
food. They had Costco. So
finding the dog's food is kind of a specialty food, so that's been tricky too. So we loaded up on that. But from there, then we went to Lake Tahoe, which was an hour-ish drive away. And Lake Tahoe was very cool. It would have been nice to spend a little bit more time there, but at the same time, I think we did okay.
Yeah. We had the dogs. We got to hike with them, which was nice.
Some places.
Yeah.
It's marked as to which trails they can go on and which trails they can't, so we knew that. Honestly, I think Lake Tahoe is most spectacular on the drive anyway.
Yeah.
When you're up a little higher and you can see the whole lake and you see the different shades of blue and you see it as a whole, or at least a big major part of it. But,
I think we did another video on Eagle Falls where the puppy saved my life.
oh, I just did that on my Instagram stories, but yeah, I might upload that.
So anyway, the puppies saved our lives. So they were at the visitor center asking about hiking, and there are bears in that area, and so she asked about bears, like, how do you stay safe, like bear spray, or what do we need? And they said, oh, no, you get your dogs with, you'll be fine. The dogs will scare the bears away. Sure enough, we went to Eagle Falls. There were a couple of different routes, and Ethan and I wanted to go higher on the way back, so we went up with the two dogs, and we were walking. We rounded a little corner, and all of a sudden both dogs just went on point. So they pointed their nose in that direction, their ears perked up, their tails were up, and just a little pointing right in, and I'm like, what? And all of a sudden Ethan elbows me, and he goes, look, and there were these two little cubs bounding through the forest about 25 yards away, and one of them decided to go up a tree. I'm like, well, we're gonna get out of here, because 25 yards and up a tree, no idea where mom is, we're done. So we walked around a little bit, and eventually we did see the mama bear, and 3 for sure, maybe 4 cubs. So
You tell that story differently than Ethan.
do I?
Yeah.
How does he tell it?
He's like, you're like, let's get closer. Oh, we're okay right here. And he's like, no, we need to back up.
That at all. He's a liar, that child. Anyway, so we hiked Eagle Falls. That was really neat.
We didn't hike the whole thing because it was getting dark.
It was getting dark.
It was very steep. That was at the end of our day, and kids were getting tired, and it was
water in it anyway, really.
There might have been had we gone farther.
Maybe. But
what I hadn't even considered was it's only like a mile hike, but it was taking people at least an hour because it was so steep.
Yeah, it was pretty
and at that point, it would have been dark. So we went, if you're ever there, we went up to the bridge, which was a nice hike, and then we didn't go past the bridge.
No, but we did see Emerald Bay, which is the most photographed area of Lake Tahoe. It was pretty.
Yeah.
I really liked the little hut. I wanted to take a trip to the hut, but there was a
little
hut
island in the middle of it over there.
A little stone structure. Anyway.
Okay, so then Lake Tahoe, back to Sparks. We left Sparks. We went boondocking.
Yep, we went boondocking. I think we've done video on that, but that was our first time boondocking in just outside of Topona.
It actually went really well, except for we were at a rest stop, which nobody else was there. Every once in a while, a car would pull in, and at one point, Jason and the kids were outside looking at the stars, which was an amazing place to see the stars because we were so far away from the city.
Yep.
And he freaked me out yet again, like terrified me, and
Just
more so
the
kids, because some people pulled in and they pulled in facing our RV, and he like shooed everybody inside, which was fine. But I think we probably startled them more so that they weren't expecting us to be there. I mean, maybe they were just coming to take a break from driving or look at the stars. I don't know, but they left right away.
So
from boondocking to
here.
Oh, that's right. Because we got here so late at night.
Yeah, we got here late at night. That was a long day.
Okay.
But that's probably time for a different video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Hat Creek and Sparks and boondocking.
Okay.
Okay. Until next time.
Bye.